So this is kind of cool. Here's the bear's trail with the worn circles that alternate left, right, as the bear makes a very well-worn trail. This is right next to where it's the main food source is. There's a little field up here with a heck of a lot of grass in it, and the bears have been feeding there. So you see these worn circles in the grass where the bear has been stomping. There's at least 2 bears, possibly more, that I've gotten on my trail cameras right here in this nearby area. So I don't know which bear or which bears are making this trail. Here's some more nice bear trail right here. See the alternating left, right as it makes its way along this trail. Bear sign is pretty big. It can be confused for other things out here like turkeys, because when turkeys step on this grass, they tend to squash a larger area because they have big feet. But bear trails are pretty distinctive in that they have that left, right characteristic to them. Here's something that's kind of interesting on the trail of a black bear. I've been following this bear's trail here, and you can see the well-worn trail coming down here. And when the bear gets right here, instead of going around this tree to the left or the right, this small tan oak here, the bear goes over it. So the trail comes right straight up to this tree. Notice the worn vegetation down here. What the bear does is it walks up, straddles this tree, and walks right over it. And then, boom, the tree springs right back up, and the bear continues along on his trail here, walking along like nothing happened, and then goes underneath this log right here. But this is what's called a straddle tree, and bears do it to leave scent. So as he walks over the tree, the fur on his underside kind of wipes on the tree and leaves some scent. And that's just one thing they do as they walk along through the forest, is leave scent marks behind them everywhere they go. Pretty soon it will be mating season. It's not quite yet, but the bears will be trying to seek out mates, and using their scent is one way of finding them. So this is called a straddle marking tree, and it's on the trail of a black bear. So the bears appear to have been spending time here too, at the base of the tree in which I have a camera, and they began marking on it, it looks like. And probably I'll look on the video and see some of the bears rubbing on the tree and adjusting the camera. But here's the trail that comes out through here that the bears have been using. This is kind of curious. There's a bunch of broken off branches right below this redwood tree that weren't there last time I was in here. Normally they don't just fall off. These look like they were stripped off. So look right here. I don't know if the camera will focus, but you can see this was actually stripped off there. Whether the bear did this or not, I'm not sure. It could be, because they will strip branches from trees to make a temporary bed. This was broken. This is not super fresh, maybe a couple weeks old. But it definitely looks like it was stripped right off there. You can see the scrape marks in the bark. And then down below, here's all these branches. And then under here, there's more of them. Some of them over there. So it's pretty common in spring for black bears to make temporary beds near their feeding areas. And I can't think of any other animals out here that would strip the bark like that off of a tree. I mean, not bark, but branches. And they're all right here below this. They do like to make beds in this redwood duff because it's really thick and soft. And I do know that that stump right there is hollow. So, and there's some disturbance right here. See right along the base right here, there's a lot of disturbance. The light is not that great right now, unfortunately, but there's definitely some disturbance right there. So I'm not sure what that is from. It could be that a bear was climbing the tree because the first branches are just right here. And it's an easy tree to climb. So that wouldn't be out of the possibilities. But I don't have an explanation for this sign right now. I don't know what made this. It's just kind of curious because these are very sturdy branches. They don't just fall off the tree in the windstorms unless they get knocked off by something or cut like that one. But this is just a pretty curious looking sign. It was obviously removed from the tree by an animal. And bear is the only animal out here that I know that would do this. So I've looked a little closer at this bear sign here under the tree where all the branches were knocked off. And I found that there was some fur snagged on some of these branches. So I think what this was marking rather than it being trying to make a bear bed. So all this broken off stuff. Bears will thrash vegetation. And they do it as part of a marking thing. So I think this is just a scent marking behavior here instead of being gathering this material for any purpose, because all the branches were left on the ground broken and were not gathered up into a mattress like bears normally will do if they're going to sleep on it. So my theory on this is I think this was just a bear thrashing around in this tree to mark scent on it, and you can see the extent of the damage to the tree with all these downed branches here and the broken things up here. So it's quite interesting that they utilized a redwood tree for this. Normally when the branches hang down they kind of look like that, and that's what this looked like previous to the bear being here. So kind of a scent marking thing that happened here. The other thing I noticed is up here where it's higher up. This is probably 6 feet, so I have to reach up to get it. This is as high as I can reach. There's breaks up here, and there's also this. So I'm going to pull this down, and you can see that there's damage all the way up here to these branches. So bears will stand up as tall as they can and decapitate saplings and thrash around in vegetation, and you can see that right up here where the tree was damaged. And this is probably a claw mark. I don't know if I can do this. There's tension on the tree. Okay, let's see if the camera will focus now. See right here where this got shredded off. There, I'll move it out of the way. So right here there's a claw mark where the bear reached up and grabbed it and pulled it down so that it could thrash around with it. There's another one over here. I'm going to let go of this branch and grab another branch. Ow. Okay. Right there. So you can see where the bear was grabbing this, and its claws dug into the bark as it grabbed it and pulled it down so that it could wipe its scent on it. And what they do is they just kind of rub it on their back, or they rub their fur on it to get their scent on it. So this is a scent marking behavior. Pretty interesting. Bears are really fun to track because they leave such copious amounts of sign, and it's really interesting to see the various things they get themselves into. Look at all this fur snagged on this broken branch right here. This is all black bear fur. And I think either they're rubbing their back as they walk under it, or it's just happening as they go under here by accident. I think it's probably the former, because bears like to rub their backs on anything they can find, relieve an itch here and there. There's also a bunch of fur snagged right here, which is kind of hard to get the camera to focus on. But there's fur snagged on here, so it looks to me like the bear is rubbing its back as it walks under this tree deliberately. Two trails here, left by bears and deer. Right here, this is a combination trail used by both the bear and the deer to get up to there where there's a field. And here is a bear trail going up that way to the same destination. So in here you have the large flattened areas that the bears have used, but you also see a lot of deer tracks in it. So the deer use this, as well as the bears, to go up and down to the field. And then the bear uses this trail, which you can see because we're following it in the direction the bear used it. So all the grasses are laid down in the direction of travel that the bear used. Pretty neat trail, huh? And they use these over and over. So they come up here because there's grass. And it's spring, the grass is putting a lot of energy into growth. So it's full of nutrients right now. And here's a nice scat from a deer. So we know the deer have been using this area, and the trail tells you the bears have been using it. Here's a deer's bed right on the edge of the field, looking out over the slope here. And that's a good place for a deer to have a bed because it gives them a bird's eye view all around, and they can keep an eye out for danger.